thinking that America is allowing this to go on in Washington. And it's not that they're stupid, by no means. They're very smart because they have manipulated the world and the United States to get their benefits and their payments, just like Harry Reid, from 300,000 to 10 million in just a short period of time. Who in the hell can make that kind of money in that short period of time? It's all about the money. It's not about what's good for the country or its people. It's about them and how much money they can accumulate. Another thing is, I guarantee if you go back and look at their portfolios, they are stocked out in petroleum.
Mm-hmm.
They got to be. So they're going to kill it off of us.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Thomas? Let me just cut you off as we come up to the break here. But you're right. I mean, power and money, corrupt everything, and you're so right. I mean, you hit the nail on the head on so many points. And one of the things that you said that I really appreciate and I like is the fact that how you mentioned, which we don't do enough. You mentioned the American people keeping these people in office. And I don't know how we do it. But I'm a little, maybe I'm overly optimistic, but I'm optimistic in the sense that I think the American voter is alive and well right now, probably more alive today than at any other time in our nation's history. And I think they're realizing, I just read an article this morning saying, I think it was, I'm not 100% sure of this, but I think it was 70% of the incumbents conservatives are being challenged by a conservative, a Tea Party conservative, are being challenged. That's huge. Now the question is, can the American people, and will the American people vote in the primaries in record numbers? Because that's what's got to happen. It's all about the primaries. Everything that happens in Washington is about the primaries. It's not about general elections. It's about the primaries. So will we step up, the American people and the American voter, saying, this is my man that we're gonna get on the ballot and we're going to vote for him and we got to get this guy out of there? Will we step up? Because I'll tell you something, and I've said this over and over again, then we're going to go to break. We're going to get back to the phones, 866-300-9298, 866-300-9298. Let me tell you, when our legislators come to the realization that if they don't do what they said they were going to do, what they promised they were going to do, if they don't do that, they're going to get fired by the very people that hired them. None of these guys would make it in the corporate world. They'd be fired. I ran a very large company, my own company, 180 people working for me. And the people that I love, that I hired, if they weren't doing what they needed to do, I had to fire them. And that's the way we've got to treat this, and we've got to do it. Let's see if we'll do it. 866-300-9298. I'll be right back. Fed says, not only do I have to stop easing, but I got to start raising interest rates. Until we start seeing that kind of stuff and have pain, and we force the hand of Congress and the legislature to do something to create incentives and growth in the economy the way it should be, nothing's going to change.
God bless you, and thank you so much for your show.
The opinions and recommendations expressed by Dan are his own and do not necessarily represent the opinions of this station or any of the show's sponsors.
That last clip wasn't planned, but it sure fit in perfect with what we've been talking about here this morning. Interesting. The major indices mixed right now. They're pretty much flat. Nothing to really talk about. The S&P's down slightly. NASDAQ's up slightly. Dow's up slightly. So no big deal there in the markets. Not a lot of activity. Hey, folks, I want to remind you here before I get to calls, 866-300-9298. American Family Radio, we partner with Asia, Gospel for Asia. You all know that. We do it every Christmas. We do a Christmas Critter campaign, and sure would appreciate it if you would consider joining us. Gospel for Asia trains and sends missionaries for church plants. And these are missionaries that are nationals from the country. and they raise them up. They plant churches among unreached people, those who have never heard the gospel. And for as little as $11 this Christmas, you can help support a village with a pair of chickens, believe it or not, so that they can maybe start a business, that they can have nourishment, they can sell eggs, they can, do other things for the village from an economic standpoint. And for $11, there's 21 different ways you can buy pigs or goats, whatever you can do to really help the personal economy of a family, the well-being of a family, and the village in itself. But here's the deal. It's delivered to them by one of those missionary pastors. It's delivered to them, and it is bringing the saving grace of Jesus Christ. So not only are you impacting their earthly life, you're impacting their eternal life. And it is just such a powerful, powerful thing. And we sure hope that you do that. My wife and I have been doing this for a long time. We did it with our kids. We've done it with our small groups. We do it every single year, almost since inception of this program. We continue to do it. And we sure hope that you will do it. Come alongside. It's a great thing tonight to sit down with your children. If you have young children, take a look, get on the computer, go to afr.net, click on the Gospel for Asia, the Christmas Critter Campaign, and look at all the things you can do, and do it with your children and say, what do you think? Should we, how about a pair of rabbits or, chickens or whatever, and get them involved, because it's just an incredible thing. So hope you'll do that. You can go to afr.net to get the information, or you can call if you want to make a phone call. If you know that's what you want to do and you want to talk to someone, you can call 877-907-4628. 877-907-GOAT. And maybe you'll call or you'll go to afr.net. We sure would appreciate it. Anyway, that's a deal with all the major indices. I have not looked at oil at all this morning, so I don't know where it is, but I'm going to tell you right now, it is at 98.38 right now, 98.38. I said yesterday, it looks like we are approaching the $100 barrel mark again. It is down right now. It is moving downward, but it is still at 98.38. That is not good news. Gold is down slightly. It's at 12.59. Gold is at 12.59. Natural gas at 4.23. That is a good number for gas. It's probably one of the best numbers we've seen this year. Silver is at 20.40. So silver has broken the $20 mark. So that's where we are in some of the commodities anyway. The agricultural commodities, by the way, are mixed. Corn and wheat are down. Actually, corn is flat. Wheat is down. A couple others down. So it's mixed. It's mixed. Live cattle is up. Live cattle up. Anyway, that's where we are with some of the market data. Let me go to Art in Texas. Hey, Art. Go ahead, Art.
Hello, am I on?
Yes, sir.
Say, just have a general question for you.
Okay.
One day you were talking about taking dividends and interest directly by check to make sure that it was payable directly to you if you had investments in mutual funds or in the stock market or anywhere, that you were saying how important it was to take any interest or dividends directly rather than have that reinvested. And I just wanted to hear that again because It made sense, but I just need to hear it again.
So here's what I was saying, Art. That's a great question, and thank you for asking that. And by the way, folks, 866-300-9298. Here's what I was saying, Art. I believe I was, since I said it like that, something like the way you said it, I was probably talking to someone who was either near retirement or retirement. And what I was saying is, oftentimes we have bond mutual funds, municipal mutual funds, even individual stocks that are throwing off a pretty good annual yield. And my comment was, if you take your annual, you actually take the cash, use it. Listen, They're income funds. The only reason one would be in those kinds of fund, well, there's two reasons. One would be it's relatively conservative. In other words, it's not as likely to be as volatile as a stock. So the swings in bonds or maybe even some large cap dividend producing stocks, but not as much as bonds, are not likely to swing a great deal. They may come down $1, go up $1. They're not going to take huge swings. You're not going to make 10%, 15% in gain in the rise of the share price in any of those. But you're in it because they're relatively conservative. And the second reason is because they're income producing. In other words, they're designed and they generally are producing a dividend or annual yield of whatever it is every year. And what I'm saying is, in a down market in particular, you'll really appreciate the value of your money's going down, but you're still getting that check every time it pays out. I don't want to say every month or every quarter. It may pay 4 times a year, but not necessarily on a quarter or whatever. But you receive that. You actually get it. You receive that income. You put it in your checking account, you spend it, you use it, you save it, whatever, but you're getting that. So at least you have the peace of mind and a little bit of an attitude that, you know what, I understand the value's down, but my money's working for me. Now the theory that you get all the time from your financial advisors is, well, when it's going down, you definitely want to reinvest because you're buying in cheap. I don't disagree with that unless you're in your retirement years or close to it and you need the income. So I think that it makes sense to be taking it all the time. And I've always been a proponent of, now, even with my younger folks, back when I was managing hundreds of millions of dollars, I didn't reinvest anything. It was all about looking at your statement. You see your cost basis. You don't have to figure out what it is. You know what it is because that's what you invested. We're not reinvesting anything. Any of the dividends or interest that it may be spinning off are going directly into the money market account. And then we will decide what particular stock or fund we want to invest it in, not automatically just reinvesting it. But that's always been my strategy. So I like the idea of receiving, and I think everybody, particularly if you're near retirement or in retirement, start receiving that money. Now, if it's an IRA account, yes, you got to pay tax on it. So what? You can't avoid the tax anyway. Take it, pay the tax on it. So that's kind of where I am on that, and I guess that's what you heard me talk about, Art.
Yeah, the retirement consultant that I'm dealing with, of course, they think, but if you reinvest those dividends and that interest, then you've got more leverage on the principal. The principal keeps increasing, so you're going to grow more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'm saying I'm in retirement now, and I do need a little bit of monthly income. I'm trying to impress upon him that cash flow is everything.
Amen.
And trying to get a little bit of that income in the form of the dividends and interest only that are received from the investments.
Well, Art, let me just say this. First of all, you're dead on the money, and it's your money. It's not his. And it's not his agenda that you should be worried about. It's your agenda. It's not his goals and objectives. It's your goals and objectives. And if you need a little bit of income and you've got money working for you, get the income. Now, I know I'm a lone wolf in that camp. I have been for over 30 years. I get that. But it's worked very, very well over those years. So I know what conventional thinking is. But you're right, and you have that money. You need a little income, and you need to be taking it. So it doesn't matter what he says because it's about your goals and objectives. And just do it.
Okay, man.
All right.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Art. Thank you. Let me go to Travis. Travis calling us from Arkansas. Hey, Travis.
Hey, Dan, I appreciate your show. I had a financial question for you, but also, you're talking about the Washington, D.C. I agree with you. It's not a lack of intelligence. It's just a severe lack of integrity. That's what the killer is. That's why I think so much of somebody like Evan Bayh, who washed his hands of it and walked away, although I'm not a Democrat. But anyway,
right. Yeah.
My question was, I live in the Central Arkansas area. I've been a small business owner before in the transportation industry. Owned some trucks and stuff like that, and since then I've sold that off and work for somebody else now. If you had any thoughts or any ideas or knowledge on a good franchise that one could buy into, a good industry, someone could look into, working independently, would like to possibly go back that direction, just, for my family, also to build something that has a little more of a future for myself and my family, and also spend more time, with my family. I just, wondered if you had any thoughts or inside track on anything like that.
Yeah, great question. I'll tell you. I'll give you a couple things that come to mind immediately that I like in that franchise world. But everything in reference to any franchise, whether it's pegged as one of the best, whether you believe it's one of the best, everything about a franchise is some of the things that we don't hear enough about, and that when we want to do what you want to do, we always end up placing far too much emphasis on a particular franchise that seems to be very good. A guy like, Dan Celia says, wow, this is really a great franchise. And we focus on that. But so much of the success of any franchise is all about geography. It's all about where you live and what your demographic is, what your population is. It is so critical to everything that you do. It's not, I could live in a very populated, wealthy area in Montana or Wisconsin, and I don't think I'm going to want to open a frozen yogurt place. I'm going to have like a month window to make money, So I'm just saying there's so many factors that you've got to look at. Now, having said that, I like a lot of the food, whether they be, a Subway kind of food or frozen yogurt kind of place. I like them because I think there's always going to be demand for them. The problem with them is there's a very fierce competition in that. So you can open one on one corner, somebody's going to open one across the street. And that's one of the issues with it. But all in all, I like it because it's not recession proof, but it has potential to continue to grow even during recessionary times. And of course, during good times, do very well. And I like that. And I appreciate those franchises. But the other things that I like are some of the temporary help franchises, because I think the temporary help franchise is overlooked in the franchise industry. And when if you could, and I don't know if you could do this, but if you can take a temporary help franchise and hone it in to a particular industry or sector, oil, energy, transportation sector, where the temporary help that you are supplying is primarily to those industries, I think one would do very well. So I like those, and it's often overlooked. So, and it's the kind of industry that is going to grow through all economic times as well. So there are just a couple things. I'm right up against the first hour here, but give those kinds of things some thought, Travis. I hope that helps you a little bit. You're listening to Financial Issues. We're going to go to break. We're coming up on the second hour. 866-300-9298. 866-300-9298. If you want to queue your call up, we'll get to phones. Try to stay with phones in the second hour. You're listening to American Family Radio, Financial Issues. I'm Dan Celia. We'll be right back.